This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I am here with none other than Severino from Horse Meat Disco, based in London in the United Kingdom. He's here in Toronto in my backyard. We're having a couple of glasses of wine, which we'll get to in a moment. Severino, how are you?
I'm very good. Arrived yesterday from Miami, interesting. Not my first time in Toronto, third time. And it's great. It's a really, really great city. It gave me again like a confirmation of a really good vibe of Canada and the all very nice.
Now, you come from Italy, obviously,
Yeah.
both with your name and your wonderful accent. And we were just speaking about how important food was to you, and wine in a certain way, when you were a young Severino. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, what I'm saying about what I think about Italian food is basically the key of Italian food is because every single town has got its own recipe, its own kind of like pasta, well, starter, pasta, main course, even cheese sometimes, even that, pudding, and obviously a different wine as well. So that's why I think Italian food is so popular and I think it's so good. I mean, I'm Italian. I've been in London for 15 years, and my priority it was like when I moved to London, like to stay with the English people, to know the culture, like to stay with that, to understand what it's all about. Well, London, I think, is different than the rest of England, and we all know that London is something that unique. No, England is England and London is like something different.
Now, you come from northeastern Italy.
Northeast, yeah. Well, no.
Kind of
like,
north.
North, yeah. Right in the middle of the North Italy. It's like a couple of hours from Milan, couple of hours from Venice.
And the city you came from was called?
It's called Mantova. Actually. It's a really cute city. It's very small, medieval, half an hour from Verona. Lots of history with the Gonzaga family, Mantegna the painter. There's lots of like beautiful painting and the Palatrucale and the castle.
And what were the specialities, the cuisine when you were growing up and also now?
Well, I come from my dad is from the countryside of Mantova, and my mom she's from Milan. So obviously I grew up in this kind of like mixed it up cuisine. Like for example, Milan. My mom obviously she knows how to do the risotto alla milanese, so like obviously like saffron, the proper saffron risotto, or ossobuco, which is that kind of like like meat with the bone and stuff like that. And from Mantova, the main specialities the tortelli di zucca, which is pumpkin, like a sort of like pumpkin ravioli. So like this ravioli stuffed with a pumpkin. Not cream, but how do you call it? Like a pumpkin stuff.
Like a puree.
Yeah, like a puree of pumpkin. And even for that, in Mantova and in Mantova region can change. Apparently in Mantova they're more like sweet. In some part of the Mantova region, they don't put amaretti, which is that kind of like little biscuits.
Yes,
so like
yes.
kind of like. It depends already. The inside of the ravioli can change in about 10 miles. That's why, which I think is crazy about the Italian food. Like every
the thing
20 miles, everything can change. Like there's a different recipe, food.
The same thing is true for wines, though.
And I think for wine as well, obviously, you know better than me, but for wine as well. Like in Mantova region, the south part of Mantova is really flat, so the wine is obviously kind of influenced by Modena, Bologna, also Lambrusco and stuff like that, which even if I had to say I'm not an amazing fan of Lambrusco, but that's another story. But then in the north part of the region of Mantova, which is more like towards the hilly side, it's got Custozza, it's got some other more like nice hilly wine, like white, red, especially white actually, but more kind of up in the hills, so they're more nicer, I think.
Now, you have the opportunity to travel all around the world these days when you're DJing as part of the Horse Meat Disco crew. Where have you had your very best meals?
There's so many places. Of course, apart from Italy, well, New York, the meal, they can be very fresh, and I like the freshness about New York. Tel Aviv as well. Tel Aviv is everything so fresh. Even like I was really surprised, like having some really good cappuccino, which like as an Italian we're quite fussy about it, but like I think the taste of the milk over there, it was really good. And then the Portuguese food is again very fresh, and I like because it's very light, not so fried. Like it's all like grilled. Like remind me actually like one of my favorite cuisine in Italy is actually the Ligurian cuisine.
That's
maybe
up
because
in the west of
in Genova,
Piedmont. Piedmont.
because like I grew up like we used to have like a summer holiday because as I said my mom's from Milan, so my grandfamily from Milan, they used to have a house there, so I grew up with like pesto alla genovese, that kind of pasta with the basil, and lots of like fish, grilled fish, lots of like nice boiled vegetable. And every time I go to Lisbon and Portugal, kind of reminds me that I guess it's Cristoforo Colombo situation between Genova, going to Lisbon, and then come to America. That kind of like shipping sort of side.
Now you come to North America, to America and Canada reasonably often. How do you find the food over here?
Toronto is really good as well. Like again, like I find everything quite fresh. There's a culture of your local stuff, which can be meat or fish, fish as well. Like all this sort of like fresh fish. And yeah, like it feels like very cultured places, like coffee, really good sort of like, and I guess it looks like, well, Little Italy, but it looks like obviously like lots of Oriental food, like Thai or Japanese or Chinese. I mean,
what does good food mean to you, Severino?
Just fresh, simple. I mean, yeah, just fresh and simple. I mean, I'm not vegetarian, but I have to say I like vegetables. I like all those kind of like, like, yeah, all that kind of like the vegetarian they eat. But I like also, of course, like I can taste when a good steak, when a good meat is good. And I like fish too. I mean, actually, if someone has to ask me fish or meat, I probably say fish straight away. Like it's more kind of like first fish and pasta and cheese and vegetables.
Do you cook yourself, or do you prefer?
No.
Would you prefer a partner to cook for you?
I'm not very for that. I'm very lazy.
Really?
I have to admit I'm very lazy.
Would you like a partner to cook for you?
I can do like my own risotto. I can do my own kind of like pasta. I can do some little bits, but no, I'm not very.
What's the main dish you cook at home?
I like risotto. I like making risotto.
That's not an easy dish to make.
Risotto with mushroom, my favorite. I love mushroom. I'm obsessed with all this kind of like mushroom and truffle, which is really good actually from my area. Like, okay, we all know that truffle is very good from Piedmont, that touring side, but also like the village where I'm from, because like we are by the big river, which is called Po. The Po River like starts from the northwest and it goes into the east, and we got some really good truffle actually. My little village, which is called Borgo Franco sul Po, they got some really good truffle.
It's also where most of the rice in Italy is grown,
exactly.
along the
Exactly.
right bank of the Po, I think.
That's why we do risotto. Like it's really well. Like in Mantova, apart from the pumpkin ravioli, also we do this the rice with sausages, but it's like a dry rice. It's not like a melted rice.
Yes, yeah.
It's very like all the little, all the
little grains in it.
Yeah, little grains with this sausage, which Mantova, Modena, the also like Emilia Romagna is very sort of like sausage, pork. There's lots of pork. That's where they're from.
Lovely.
The ham and the mortadella. All that ham and pork things. It comes from my area, you know.
Severino, thank you very much for joining us on my back patio for Good Food Revolution today. We look forward to sharing many a glass of wine with you in the future.
Thank you very much. Ciao.